Alright, in this next video demonstration, I'm going to talk about how to set up a tunnel mode IPSec communication between two XP machines. And I have one XP machine called XP1, it's .120. I have another XP machine right here, it's XP2, .121. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a shared folder on my 121 XP machine, and we'll just call this sales. And I'm going to go ahead and share that folder out. And we're going to share it out as sales. Say OK, and let's put some content in here. Do a new text document. Let's do janag.text. And we'll put some content in there of hello. Close that out, save it. That'll just give us something to connect to. And in fact, let's jump over to our XP machine and let's map a network drive to that box. Let's see here. Here's our XP2 JH sales. Alright, so there's my janag.text file, and again I have a map network drive for that. That'll give us some communication between XP1 and XP2 as we see here. Now let's go in and probably the easiest way is to go in and add a new Microsoft Management Console that will contain both the IPSec policy and the monitor. That way we can actually see the IPSec go through. So let's do IPSec monitor and IPSec policy management for the local computer. Alright, and again this is on our XP1 machine. Let's also do the same thing on our XP2 machine. So I'm going to do run MMC, maximize these out. I'm going to add in my IP security monitor and policy management for the local box as well. Just make everything nice and easy. And I'll go ahead and start on my XP1 machine, and let's go in and we see that we have our default IPSec policies here. I don't think any of those are tunnel mode. I think they're all transport modes. So we're going to go ahead and make a new IPSec policy, and I'm going to call this tunnel to 121. We are not going to activate the default response rule, and we're going to make a new rule. And our tunnel endpoint, the first one I'll do is 192.168.55.121. That's our destination endpoint for all network connections. We're going to use the Kerberos v5 as our authentication method because I'm in a domain scenario. And I'm going to get rid of these. I was playing around with these a little earlier. Start from scratch here. So I'm going to add in a new IP filter list, and I'll call this filter from 120 to 121, and add. We're going to say the source is my IP address, and the destination is going to be a specific IP address, which would be 192.168.55.121. Any protocol type. We're going to catch everything and say OK. And we are going to choose that filter list that we just made, and we are going to get rid of these real quick here. Now we're going to do a filter action, make a new filter action, and we are going to secure 120 to 120 to 121. And we're going to negotiate security. We do not want to communicate unless we are talking IPSec. We're going to do encryption and integrity, so AH and ESP, and finish. And we're going to choose that secure 120 to 121, say next, finish, and say OK. And so now we're back to our rules. We're going to make another rule that's going to go from 121 to us, so back inbound. So this is pretty much an outbound rule. We're going to go behind and make a new inbound rule. So we'll do add, next, and the tunnel endpoint is actually going to be us this time. So 192.168 18.55.120, which is this box, and all network connections, Active Directory, and we're going to make a new filter list. And we're going to say filter, so what did I call this other one here? Filter from 121 to 120. We're going to add that in. And we're going to say the source is going to be a specific IP address, which is my 121 box, and to my IP address. This is inbound. Any protocol, finish. Say OK. And we're going to do the 121 to 120. Next. And we're going to make a new filter action. Again, we called this secure. So we're just going to do secure 121 now to 120 for the inbound. Say next. Negotiate security. We do not want to allow unless it supports IPSec. Encryption and integrity. Finish. And we want to do the 121 to 120. Say next and finish. And OK. And close. And let's go ahead now and assign this policy to the machine. Now what I'm going to do is jump over to my, minimize this, and I'm going to jump from my 120 machine now to my 121 machine. And we're going to go in and do the same exact thing. We're going to make a new IPSec policy, and we're going to call this secure, we'll just do tunnel to 120. Be fine. I'm not going to activate the default response rule. We're going to make a new rule, and we're going to say the tunnel endpoint now is 120 because we're on 121, so we're going to make an outbound rule. All network connections, Kerberos v5, and I think I might be able to use these again, but I'm just kind of a bit skeptical about it, so I'm going to go ahead and just make my own new rules again. And I'm just going to say, I'm going to turn off my phone that was ringing in the background, sorry. And I'm going to say from 121 to 120. Let's give it a different name. And I'm going to say from my IP address to a specific IP address, which is 192.168.55.120. Any protocol, finish. OK. And we're going to also do a filter action again. Secure this from 121 to 120. Secure this from 121 to 120. Finish up and say OK. Let's make another rule now. Let's do an inbound rule. And our tunnel endpoint is going to be us. 121. All network connections, AD. We're going to make a new rule. Call this from 120 to 121. This is going to be from a specific IP address, being 120, to my IP address. And we're going to make a new filter action. Probably don't have to make that new filter action. I'm just being, kind of silly. From 120 to 121. Next. Here's that from 120 to 121. Again, the name of the rules don't really matter. I mean, just whatever's intuitive for you. And we'll say close, and now let's go ahead and assign this. All right. Now we can go over to our IP security monitor, and I'm on my XP2 machine, and take a look at, here's our main mode and quick mode. Quick mode is where it actually sets everything up. It's very rare, at least in my travels, that you catch that SA going through. But when it comes to the main mode, you typically can see that SA going all the time. If I jump over to my XP1 machine and just kind of look at the security monitor, same thing. I'll just expand these out, don't see anything. and don't see anything. And main reason I don't see anything is because I haven't made these guys talk yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my computer on my XP1 machine, which is acting kind of funky. Wait for that to come back up. Hold on one second. Alright, here we go. So I'm going to double click sales, and there's my janag.txt. And just to verify that we are talking IPSec, if I go back and look at my IPSec security associations, we do see that we are monitoring this, and we have a connection from 120 to 121 to my peer. And we see our authentication, algorithms, integrity, encryption. I can go back over to my 2 machine, and there's my SA showing up as well. So good stuff. That's how you do it.